What if I told you the best way to get analog warmth and character from an EQ plugin is often by not using the EQ? It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but some plugins hide incredible sonic secrets just waiting to be uncovered. Today, we're diving into one of my favorites that does exactly that. I was working on a rock mix the other day, specifically on the drums, trying to get that classic punchy in-your-face vibe. I had great samples, but something was still missing. That intangible thickness and grit you often hear on older records. I thought about saturation plugins, maybe some tape emulation, but then I remembered an old trick with the PSP Datamix A567, and it completely transformed the drum bus. So here we are in the DAW, and I have a dry drum bus playing. First, let's insert the PSP Datamix A567. Now, notice the EQ switch is set to out, meaning the actual equalizer bands are bypassed. Yet, even with the EQ off, just having the plugin inserted adds subtle character. This is the preamp and output section emulation at work, adding that touch of vintage console vibe. Next, the drive knob. This adjusts the global drive level of all algorithms. Listen as I slowly increase it. You'll hear the drums gain punch and a subtle but pleasing harmonic saturation. See that red drive overload light? That's telling us that we are hitting saturation, which is exactly what we want for that analog feel. Find your sweet spot, where it's adding character without becoming overly distorted. Now, for the real magic, especially on stereo tracks. The PSP Datamix A567 models 8 unique channels from the original console. Each channel has slight variations in tuning, like a real analog console would. Let's switch to our overheads and cycle through a few channel select options. Can you hear those subtle shifts in timbre? But here's where it gets interesting. For stereo width, the variation slider. On stereo tracks, this controls the left and right channel's variation in opposite directions. When I move this slider, it subtly shifts the character of each side independently, creating a beautiful analog style spread. It's not a typical stereo widener, it's more organic, like a slight imperfections of a real-world console opening up your sound. You can use the mu setting for an average tuning or pick a specific channel and vary it from there. So, the next time you reach for an EQ, consider the PSP Datamix A567, not just for its frequency shaping, but for its inherent analog character. Leveraging the drive for grit and channel select with variation for unique stereo width can bring that coveted vintage console sound to your mixes. Give it a try and let that analog mojo elevate your tracks.